Please complete your Unit 1-7 notes on graphing lines using intercepts. It says right here to find the x-intercept, substitute 0 for the y. So in this equation right here, instead of being y equals, it will be 0 equals 3x plus 9. I need to solve that equation. In order to solve that equation, I need to subtract 9 from both sides of the equation so that I can cancel out the 9 and solve for the x. So the next step will be negative 9 equals 3x. In order to solve, I need to divide both sides of the equation by 3. And so then that's going to give me, when I divide that, it will be negative 3 is equal to x. Down here on my x-axis, the graph is going to go through negative 3. Now, it doesn't tell me that I have to find the y-intercept, but if I'm going to graph it down here, I'm going to need 2 points. So I'm going to move this over here. And now we're going to solve for the x-intercept, the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, y equals 3x plus 9, you're going to let x be equal to 0. And so 3 times 0 is just 0, and so that's going to be the y-intercept. So I'm going to have a y-intercept right here at 9. And so I'm going to come over here to my shapes, and I am going to insert a line. You have all these different shapes you could choose, and I'm going to choose a line, and I am going to make a line that goes through my x-intercept and y-intercept. Now, I clicked on my select tool, and I'm going to select this end and drag it out a little bit longer, because a good line goes all the way across the graph, and a good line also has arrows on the end. So I have found my 2 intercepts and used those 2 intercepts to graph the equation. Okay, next example. So to find the y-intercept, I'm going to substitute 12 equals 2x plus 3y. In place of the x, I am going to put a 0. So that's going to be 12 equals 0 plus 3y. And because 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 3y is just 3. Going to divide both sides of the equation by 3. And so 12 divided by 3 would be 4, is going to equal the y-intercept. So down here, the y-intercept, y on the y-axis, I'm going to put a 4. Over here, I am going to have 12 equals 2x plus 3y. In order to find the x-intercept, I'm going to put a y here for 0. That's going to give me plus 0. 3 times 0 is 0, but when I add 0, I just get 2x. In order to solve this, I need to divide both sides of this equation by 2, And so 6 equals x. Drawing tool, 6 equals x. So I'm going to use my shapes, and on my shapes I'm going to make a line because they can draw a line straighter than I can. And so then I'm going to pick my select tool, and I'm going to pull this end out a little bit farther, and if it's a good line, it's going to have arrows on the end. Okay, find the x and y intercepts here. Draw a line down my paper so I can find both. And so I'm going to have 2, 0 minus 6y equals 30. In order to find the y-intercept, the x is going to be equal to 0. That's going to be 0 subtract 6y equals 30. But 0 subtract 6y is just going to be a negative 6y. Divide both sides not by 6, but by negative 6. And so y is going to equal negative 5. 30 divided by 6 is 5. And since this one has a negative sign, that would be a negative y. So on my y-axis, that's where my y-intercept is going to be. To find the x-intercept, the y has to be equal to 0. And so that's going to be 2x minus 0 equals 30, because 6 times 0 is 0. When you subtract 2x minus 0, that's just going to be 2x. Divide both sides of the equation by 2, and so x is going to equal 15. Oh, no, that's going to go off my graph. So that would be way over here someplace. And so my shape line, my line is going to be going off my graph over here. I just approximated 15 is going to be way out there someplace. Positive 15 would be. Okay, we have a line on my graph, and the x-intercept of my graph is negative 2. And then that's not going to make a pretty point. And then I'm going to have 0, and then I'm going to have 2. Let's see, negative 2. This point right here is negative 2, 0. This point right here is 0, positive 3. This point right here is 2 and 6. Oops. Now I'm going to take those and pull those down because I see one more point on my line here is negative 4 and negative 3. Do I have a highlighter over here? This point right here is my x-intercept. This point right here is my y-intercept. Okay. This is in the left-right direction, so I start at 0 and go negative 2 and down 9, negative 1 and down 6, 0 and negative 3, 1 and 0, 2 and 3. Those are my points on my line. This point right here is my y-intercept. This point right here is my x-intercept. Shapes, line, and good lines have arrows on the end.